right, and currently I am transporting you to a hut somewhere in Finland and to be with my guest, Kaisa Siren. I think I've got that right, have I, Kaisa?
Yes, perfect.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Welcome, and welcome to you are the first official guest on the After the Click podcast. So thank you very much for breaking my duck and welcome.
Thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me. This will be exciting. Thanks very much.
Well, I'm glad you're excited. I'm excited, but probably a nervous excitement. So, me being the terrible host of these things. Then, anyways,
don't worry.
So thank you so much for joining me. All from the outside, you showed me just earlier, from the wilds of Finland. It looked fairly wildish. Next to a lake,
yeah.
Lovely trees. Yeah. The autumn colours seem to be on their way already for yourself up there.
It is superb. I am about 350 kilometers north of the Arctic Circle at the moment by a little lake, or actually quite a large lake. And the colors are superb here. All the birch trees are yellow. The ground is red. It's really beautiful.
Beautiful. Well, the little glimpse I caught before, we're a good while behind you on the colour front. So I am looking forward to autumn, but it's only just starting to turn here. So, anyways, that's enough of the scene setting. Tell us a little bit about yourself and Kaisa.
Yes, I'm a freelance photographer. I live in northern part of Finland, in Lapland, and I work. 70% of my time goes to working with magazines and newspapers. And I work with all the major publishing houses in Finland. So I have a very large number of clients. Not so many things go on here. Nothing barely happens here. So you have to have a lot of clients in order to kind of work every day.
Yeah.
The rest of the 30% of my working time, I might take some marketing materials for companies. I might do an odd weddings, sometimes maybe 3 per year or something like that.
Right.
And I also have a gallery. It's more actually like an event house, or that's the direction I want to build it into. Mm-hmm. And that's located in Rovaniemi, in the place where I live. So that takes up a bit of my free time.
You have free time after all that?
I have a little bit. And then ICM photography, of course, takes up almost most of my free time.
Yeah, so when you get away from the working side of the photography, what I would call the boring bit of photography is, the earning money bit, but being the, more of the artist persuasion, then obviously your free time and your free photography time, I should say, is predominantly your ICM work.
Yes, that's it. I try to go out with the camera almost every day, like mornings or after work, afternoons. It doesn't quite work out, so it's more. In reality, it's more weekends and summertime, of course. Then there's less work and there's more free time.
Yeah,
and then it's ICM definitely. Yeah.
Good to hear it. I mean, obviously, being a predominantly ICM photographer, then I sort of fully subscribe to everybody spending every spare moment that they have on ICM photography, because it is so liberating. And I suppose it for yourself, being very much a working photographer, weddings, commercial, magazines, then the ICM side must be very, very freeing for you.
It is. It's wonderful because my work is documentary. Everything must be exactly the way it is. You must not change anything.
You're
Everything must look the way it looks. So it's so liberating. It's 180 degrees the opposite. I just love it.
So did the the restrictions of your your documentary and your news photography, that kind of stuff, did that drive you're into the ICM world side of things? Was it a reaction to your the restrictions of your work?
It wasn't really a reaction to the restrictions, but I was seeking to do something very different.
Right.
And I did for quite a few years, I was looking for topics and for my own projects, for my free time. For example, I ended up photographing all the old people of Lapland who had turned 100 years.
All right.
And it was really exciting, but I really found it was too much similar to my work.
Right.
And I was thinking all the time that for the free time and for my own projects, I have to find something that's completely different. And then I had tried ICM already, like, I think 2004, the first one,
Right.
first time. And then little by little, I realized, I got back to it, and I realized that this is my thing. This is what I really enjoy, and it's different enough.
Fantastic. So you were starting ICM photography when I was pretty much starting photography.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
So you were vastly more experienced than myself. Because
I don't know.
I only started 6-7 years ago on the ICM front. I was still trying to. Before that, I was trying to convince myself that I was a photographer.
Yeah, I've started quite a while ago. I actually started. I was traveling. We were in Iceland on a bus tour in Iceland, and it was really rainy, and all the clouds were right down to the ground. And you couldn't really see the scenery. So I was entertaining myself, sitting in the bus and taking pictures through the window from the moving landscape. And in Iceland, the color of the soil is really amazing because it's volcanic. So you have all the colors of the rainbow. So I was concentrating on the soil, and I got all these wonderful colors on ICM. And then I realized, when I came back home, I realized that this looks really good, and I started to do a little bit more. But then there were quite a few years that I didn't do much, and maybe only the last 5 years I've really been doing a lot.
Right. So a little bit more dedication more recently.
Yeah.
Was that mainly just because you were, fitting in around work? Was it a case of, obviously you had your Lapland 100+ project? Or was it just I've now got a little bit more spare time, I'm going to explore that further, the ICM further? Or was it just you were dabbling in a lot of things and it's...
I was, but I think buying the gallery, the house, it was really an initiative that I got deeply into the ICM, because it was such a nice thing that it really inspired me. And just knowing that now I have a nice house where I can work and have the studio and a good atmosphere, it just brought me so much energy that I wanted to do more and more photography on my free time. And then I got more and more into ICM.
Right. So let's talk about, as we've mentioned it a few times, let's talk about your gallery. Then you explained to me that the other day that it's basically your home. It's a part of your home?
No, it isn't. It's
a
separate house, but it's very near my home. Okay. It's just 2 doors down on the same street. And I bought it 3.5 years ago, and I was looking for a studio space and a little office where I can do the post-processing. But then this house next to our home came for sale, and it was too intriguing. The location was perfect.
Right.
So I ended up buying it very quickly and do a little renovation to make it work as a studio space. And after having been there 1 year, I realized that it also could work very well as a gallery and an event house, and you could do many other things there as well. But it's 200 square meters, and it has 7 rooms where you can hang work.
Wow!
So it's quite a big one, actually.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few photographers that I know in the UK here that have their own galleries, and it's like pretty much like a one room. One like floor space, one shop space. So I think for me personally, it was like owning a gallery at some stage would be lovely. But something of that size, that is quite the quite the step up from what I imagined may be possible at some stage. So obviously at that size, you're displaying more than your own work.
Yes, absolutely. My goal is that I would have 2 to 3 exhibitions in the springtime and 2 to 3 in the fall from, other artists, not necessarily photography, but any artist as such. And so far, we've had 7 exhibitions so far.
Fantastic.
And there's 2 more coming now before Christmas, and then again 3 next spring are booked.
So what kind of artists are you attracting into exhibiting in your gallery?
I've had so far 3 groups of 10 people.
Right.
It's like an art group, and they represent many different techniques. The next exhibition that's coming is 2 photographers who also do ICM and multiple exposures and creative stuff. Yeah.
Fantastic.
I had last fall a lady who does acrylic painting. There's a textile artist coming. But the very, very best so far was last November, December. I had an exhibition of 4 generations of Westerns. Edward Weston.
All right.
Yeah, Edward Weston and Brett and Cole Weston, his 2 sons.
Yeah.
And Cole's son, Kim, and Kim's son, Zach.
Right.
And they were all original Westerns.
Yeah.
So that was really the top so far.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah.
So lots of interest in something of that significance then.
Yeah.
Was it popular? Lots of people through it.
Yeah, it was very popular, and it was also good for the marketing side of the house itself, the gallery itself, because it's still not very well known.
Right.
But when I had a very well-known photographer's work there, then everyone was more attracted to come.
The ears pricked up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think something like that, as obviously, something like this, that you've got a business plan going forward, and it's very much a building thing. And if you can get something well known or a big thing at a point, after a little bit of time, then that's really going to be a kick-off, isn't it?
I hope so. Anyway, of course, at the moment it's very difficult to.
Well, yeah, I was going to say everything. Your business, we're multiple year business plans that we've all got laid out, or a lot of us have. I don't. I just go from day to day. But anyway, you had it all planned out, and then all of a sudden, come March or February or whenever, it all went wrong.
Yeah, it all stopped.
Yes,
it didn't even go wrong. It started reversing.
And basically, an hour before we started this Zoom call, this like my region of the UK, we've just been put under more restrictions.
Oh no!
So not full on. You can't do this and you can't do that. It's basically you can't be sociable, and you've got to be out the pub by 10 o'clock at night.
Oh yeah.
So it's I don't know. But I'm not exactly the most sociable person anyway, so I'll not feel that much harm from it.
You can have your beer at home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was like, I can ring me sister if I want to. Not that bothered. And I'll still see people when I'm walking the dog through the village anyway. So I can that's as sociable as I need to be. Yeah, the dogs help for that. Yeah, very much so. Dogs are good for that. I mean, during our main lockdown here, it was like, oh, you're not allowed to leave the house more than once a day. I was like, try telling that to a 3-year-old Labrador. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yes, he still got his walks. Well, just obviously had to break the rules to make sure he actually went to the toilet. We are lucky we never had such a bad lockdown here. We have been able to move freely all the time. Of course, we had the restaurants closed and all events closed, but we were never restricted to stay in the house. Right. So did you have to close the gallery for that duration? Right. Yeah, from 15th of March till 8th of June or something like that. Right. So did the exhibitions that were supposed to be on there, have you had to rearrange or? Yeah, we rearranged so that as soon as we could open, we had the one that was supposed to be during the time, and all the other events. But I could really well see that people didn't
didn't dare to move around and come and visit. And it still is the case. It still is the case.
Right. So the part of Finland that you're from is, and where you're where you're living, where your gallery is that like a very artistic kind of area that's obviously a well-established gallery would obviously benefit from? Or is it a tourism area that's
the town itself? Go ahead.
Like a tourist area that would bring people, bring money into the area, is the way I was thinking.
The town itself is 60,000 inhabitants, and we have a university with the Faculty of Art, Fine Arts.
Right.
So that brings a certain scheme to the town.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's not very artistic as such. But it's very touristic because it's the place where Santa Claus lives.
All right.
And it's the place where all the British come to see Santa at Christmas time. And during December, there's a lot of traffic. And there's been a lot of traffic from Asian countries and from all around the world. Tourism has really been booming. So it has a very big effect now that no one is coming.
Yeah.
It affects everything.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it looking like it might be something near normal by December for
No.
It's just
nothing like
right.
Yeah, nothing like that, because we have very strict restrictions from travelers to come to Finland.
Right.
I mean, we are free to move around here, but like from Britain, if you wanted to come from Britain now, you'd have to go to 72-hour quarantine.
Right.
And then you'd have to get a second corona test taken here, first at home. If it's negative, you can travel, stay 72 hours in a hotel room, get another corona test, and then you can go out.
Then you can, right. So
But usually people are here for 3 days, so what's the point?
Yeah.
So no one's coming.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was thinking, well, if you're going to get families coming across to see Santa Claus, then it's only going to be for a weekend, maybe.
Exactly. It's 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
So no one is coming, and it's a catastrophe. But let's not discuss that, because I start to shiver.
I think everybody no matter what line of work they've done, we've all talked COVID to death.
I think so too.
Since February, March time.
We have to concentrate on positive things.
Yes. Well, also it gives us chances to diversify into like doing more on YouTube or making podcasts or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
It's we've got a little bit more free time.
There are positive things.
Yeah, definitely. We've got more free time. We've got more technology. Can you imagine this COVID thing happening before the internet?
Yeah, imagine.
I can't remember what the world was like before the internet.
No, neither can I.
I obviously I am older than the internet, so. Yes, I even got through school without a computer and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, me too.
I'd imagine kids these days are like, what do you mean there was a time before computers?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, we've all had a bit more time to think about the future and how we were going to, attack doesn't sound the right word. Remarket ourselves, approach the world in a completely different way. I mean, how are you doing that with the gallery and your own? Well, all of your work really, because I mean, if you're dealing with news is always going to be rolling. Magazines, I hope, are still being produced. But for the gallery and all the other aspects, how are you using this time to push things further on? Are you doing a lot of continuing networking I'm thinking for the work side of things? Are you are you doing more networking to remind people that you're there, or making sure that they're still there?
Yeah, I try to shout really loud for all the events and things that are happening there. And then I invite people one by one, like key people.
Right.
People who are in charge in tourism, because one day they will have clients.
Yep.
People from the university, the teachers there, people from art groups, guides associations, and people like that. I invite them one by one, come and see, let's meet, just the two of us so that they feel safe. And I try to do marketing like that now.
Mm-hmm.
And then I hope that when things improve,
when things pick up,
when they pick up again and improve, then they can recommend and remember the place. But it's very important to now do marketing now and do it very loud, because if you don't do anything for like half a year or for a year, everyone will forget you.
Yes,
even those who did remember and knew you before, they will all forget by in a few months.
Yeah, you're kind of basing around the real world, the local people, the important people around your area, and the groups that would support the gallery and your own work. I mean, even you find that in this algorithm-driven world that we all live in, with our Instagrams and our TikToks or whatever, that's all the algorithm. And if you're not feeding the beast, then that beast forgets you. And it'll be just the same in the real world. If you're not constantly reminding real people that you're there, then they're going to forget you're there, or they're going to miss you completely. So it really is worthwhile of knocking on doors.
It's a lot of work, but it needs to be done. What else can you do? And then, of course, also in the social media, you have to be very active there.
Yeah, I just make mistakes. Like being a shy, reserved Brit, I was like, everybody will find me. That's fine.
Exactly.
You've got you do have to actually suck it up and actually go and bang
you
on
have
the door
to do
now
actually.
again.
Yeah, you have to do quite a bit.
Yeah, and the way things have been this last 6 months to a year for me, my social media just seems to be dying, because I've slowed down on feeding the beast. It's like, I looked the other day, I was like, when did I last post on Instagram? It was like a month ago. But then again, I'm looking at, right, when was the last time I took a photograph? And it was like, that was 3 weeks ago. Where's that time gone?
Yeah.
Where's that time gone? And so, like, now we've got more restrictions.
Yeah, exactly.
When am I going to get out? Well, I'm going to go out again anyway, but it's like, well, if they shut down hard again, that means I'm going to miss autumn after missing the spring.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's hope.
Yeah, so I think the lesson here is to just get on with it.
Yes, get on with it. Yeah, get on with it, and expect to see the results in a year.
Yes,
kind of thing. Trust yourself. Just keep trusting yourself that you're doing the right thing, and eventually you see the results.
Yeah, we'll remain optimistic.
Remain optimistic.
Yeah. And I think stay mobile as well, because one of the things about when things closed down, and I had a load of tuition lined up at a workshop that was due to be done due in April, and all of a sudden everything for the rest of the year got cancelled, and it was like, I have nothing to do and I have no income. And it's like, right, some companies that are set in their ways and they've only got one source of trade, they're the ones that really stuck. They have to furlough their employees and all. But when you're kind of mobile and a little bit nimble, you can divert a little bit here and there. So one of the things I did straight away was like, right, the tuition's just, that's it for the year. It's like, right, make it available online. So and the other thing was like, right, that second batch of presets that I've made, that I've been sitting on for 18 months, get them packaged together. And get them over it. And then all of a sudden, like, those few sales to start with got me through the first couple of months. And it was just like, it was just, I had time to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Force and time.
Yeah. So I just need to work on the force side of things.
Yeah.
I've got plenty of time because I just waste my days. Too many distractions, I'll try a bit of that and I'll try it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like podcasts, Patreon, Twitch.
Yeah, exactly. You just have to use your imagination, and you come up with results and solutions.
Try everything, and then you
everything.
Try it. If you fling enough shit at the wall, something will stick.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's quite the term, but it sounded good in my head.
It happens.
So, I mean, in the perfect world, I mean, obviously you're doing a lot of networking, but when it comes to actually selling work, whether it's your own or your clients that are in your gallery, I mean, what kind of recommendations, what kind of tips can you give us for the rest of us out here?
I just had an exhibition which I actually took down yesterday,
right.
in a gallery. There were 13 of my photographs and 12 paintings from a friend of mine, mm-hmm. and it looked really, really good. It was a really nice exhibition. My friend sold 5 paintings, which is a lot. Yeah. It's like a record. Mm-hmm. And I ended up selling 2 from the wall there, 2 right. photographs. And the one lady who bought one of those 2 ordered another 4 from the same series. So I ended up selling like 6. Yeah. So that was really a record. But what I learned now, I have thought about it a lot before, but I really learned that we have to present the work. How would I say it diplomatically? You know these books, English for Dummies and
yes.
Yeah, this series.
Yeah.
Kind of the same way that art right. for dummies. Right. You have to present the work so that even those people who never look at art, who have no experience, who never go to a gallery, but for some reason today they went, right. that even they get something out of it. Mm-hmm. And very often, especially in Finland, we do so that we hang up the paintings on the wall. Then there's a table somewhere. There's a little sheet of paper that describes something about the work and something about the artist. Right. And then there's another sheet that has all the names of the works and the prices. Right. And then people come in, they look around like that, and out they go. Mm-hmm. And hardly anyone goes to the table, picks up the paper, reads what is this all about, and actually looks carefully and studies what's there. So we have to present a little bit more like how we present works in museums, that we actually have the descriptions on the wall there, not somewhere a piece of paper somewhere lying there. Right. You run out of them anyway halfway down the exhibition. Put the name of the painting or photograph or whatever piece of artwork, put the name and the price and everything very clearly underneath the work. Yeah. If possible, and I highly recommend, write a little story about that work. Mm. Sort of open up what is it about, or why you did it, or what it reminds you, or what feeling it creates in you. Because then you are selling more of the story and part of yourself rather than just an obscure picture. And people kind of, they are affected more in their mind, in their feelings. Yeah. They read the little story, even if it's 3 lines, they get more inside and they start thinking that, if she took this picture and she was feeling lonely or happy or whatever, blah, 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 I feel quite the contrary. I feel sad or whatever. And it affects the person more, and it might sort of create the feeling that she might want to buy it. Or if the story is good, they can relate to it. Yeah. It's easier to relate to the image as well. Yeah. I mean,
I was going to just very.
Yeah.
Sorry to butt in.
No.
I know. I did my first solo exhibition last year, and we did have the names of the pieces and the prices next to it, but we didn't do a story. And I know for a few of my pieces that were in there, that were very much down to like what you interpret as the viewer. Whereas, obviously, if I put the story in it, it may well have struck more of a link with the viewer.
Exactly.
put in like that's a ship on fire,
Yeah,
rather than
yeah,
it's a black smudge surrounded by orange.
yeah, yeah.
Because it would have been that. It would have been that to a lot of people that were through the gallery, because it was in a tourist spot, so lots of people in for their teas and their coffees and sandwiches.
Yeah,
But they would walk into that room and it's photography.
yeah,
What?
exactly.
And
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a splodge and this and that kind of looks like that castle down the coast, but I'm not sure.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, I think that's almost make it like it is the National Gallery in London with the everything presented and your
yeah,
story and when it was your dates and the names and
yeah, yeah,
I think
exactly.
that's a good
And
idea to put as much of that in
yeah,
as you can.
as packaged as easy as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And especially I feel this with ICM, because a lot of people don't realize they are photographs.
Yeah.
And then once they read that it's a photograph and the technique is opened up a bit, and maybe even you tell a little bit what the elements are, then they go like, oh, wow. And they really get interested.
Uh-huh.
It was very good. Yesterday, I was at the gallery for 3 hours before closing and taking it down. And I heard this, oh, wow, so many times when I explained to them that, yes, it's actually a photograph. And this is a painting, but this is a photograph. And this is how I do it. And this was taken from a moving car. And this is actually a volcano with the whatever gray clouds and so on. And they got much more interested than having been there just on their own, looking around. What's this shit? Get out.
Yeah. I heard a beautiful comment. It's a TV show here in the UK, and it's something. It's two comedians. I can't remember. One's Bob Mortimer, and the other again Paul Whitehouse. So Bob and Paul go fishing or something.
Yeah.
And in the trailer, there was like one stand on the riverbank, one up to his knackers in the water fishing, and he was like, "So what artists do you like then, Paul?" And he goes, "I don't really do art." And he goes like, "Well, do you like well, surely you must like something." I think like, "Yeah, but I'm one of these people that'll go into a gallery and wonder how long I've got to look at a photograph before I move on to the next one or the painting." And
exactly.
I was like, I am an artist. I'm like a photographic artist. I go into a gallery and I'm thinking, how long have I think that was like, right, how long do I have to look at this before I move on? Because I'm like, I remember quite a few years ago now, I went around the National Gallery in London. So there was a few of the famous paintings. There was sunflowers, Turner's Fighting Temeraire, and a lot of other stuff. And then there was the bits that I just don't. I wouldn't say I don't get. It's just at the time I didn't appreciate, and I'm just looking at them going, meh. I think it was like Van Dyck or something like that, with absolutely stunning historical work, owned by Henry VIII or whatever, and I'm just looking at it, meh, don't really get it. On to the next one. Look at that one, going, meh, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
So I can see that, if there's more explanation, there's a bit more education in it. Then I can see.
I know that many artists think that you must not explain your work. It must be self-explanatory, and you ruin the whole idea. And the piece of artwork is not good enough if you have to explain it. But you have to understand that there's a lot of people who are not into art. They are not. They don't have the experience in interpreting art and looking at it. So we have to give tools for them as well, because otherwise you sell nothing.
Yeah, I was going to say it's. I wouldn't say you're catering to the lowest denominator. It's you've got to strike a balance somewhere. You've got to, you've got to have a bit of arty language in there to fluff it up a bit, but you don't want to be so highfalutin that you're putting people off that don't really understand it. You've got to get somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's also, and that can come to. We'll probably mention the pricing stuff in a minute, but one of the things is that if you're doing an art fair or something, like, you've got one big expensive piece, or a couple of big, very expensive pieces, and then you've got your general normal stuff. And then also you've got little note cards or something that you can sell for a couple of quid.
Yeah.
And you've got a broad range, so it's like people, the people that can afford a couple of quid are like, oh, I'll take a few of them cards. Or but you'll have some big wig with a stack of roll of 20s in his back pocket, and he goes, I'll have that big one on the back. If you've got a broad range, but if all you do is go in with 10 of them big expensive ones, nothing else, you're gonna make nothing.
Exactly. That is a very good idea. That's very important.
That's one of the first lessons I learned when I was researching the whole, do I do this professionally? Do I start trying to sell stuff? Is to have a range of prices.
Yeah, exactly. And what I'm going to try now with the next exhibition with these two ladies, these photographers, is that I make a little short video of both of them, them explaining and telling the story behind their favorite photograph in the exhibition. And then I do the QR, QR code. Exactly. Yeah. And then it opens up and the people can look at it and listen to the little story. Just like a minute, 1 minute maximum. Yeah. Very short.
That is a great idea. I mean, Thomas Heaton, landscape photographer, he's just from down the road from me. Obviously, he's huge on YouTube, and he's produced a book this year. And in the back, against every image that's in the book, it's tied to one of his videos. So there's a QR code. So you scan it, and you've got the video there. So in 200 years' time, if YouTube is still around, and that book is in the British Library, somebody pulls it out. There's Tom doing all the explaining. You see him taking it and all that. Fantastic idea, and I'm sure there's not that many people doing it yet.
I don't know.
Maybe it depends on where in the world you're from.
True. I'm sure there are people, but I'm really interested to see what the reaction of the public is, and do they actually fall in love more with the work when they see the artist? The artist is kind of there all the time, and you can hear the favorite story. So that'll be interesting to see what kind of reaction we get.
Yeah, it'd be good to get some feedback on that in the future to see how that goes. Because obviously, if you're on site for a portion of the day, and then as people are walking through, you hear that video click in, then that it's working.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and then I can also directly ask them what they thought about the idea. So
I think getting feedback is probably something that a lot of people are doing as well. Like being bold and going out there is like, right, here's the exhibition that's just run or whatever. Give me your honest feedback of the set. Maybe it's not necessarily the work, but the setup around it.
Yeah, exactly. The whole concept. Yeah. I think it's really important, especially, I mean, the artist, him or herself, might want to have the feedback, but he or she might continue the same way anyway, whatever the feedback is, because he's an artist. but for me, as a gallerist, it's very important because I have to try to create an atmosphere that's nice and cozy and whatever, so that people enjoy to come there. Not only because of what's hanging on the wall, but also because of the house itself. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So it's important to get the feedback and ask them how it goes.
Obviously, I was going to say that this is a personal question. It's a personal one. I'm interested is for your own ICM work. How are you actually presenting that on the walls for display and for sale? Obviously, are you doing frames? Are you doing canvases? Or is it behind glass? Is it your edition? Are you doing edition numbers?
Yeah, I do editions of 3.
Right.
Only 3. And lately, let's say the last 3 years, I have been printing them on aluminum board,
Right.
3mm aluminum, directly on the aluminum,
Right.
not on paper.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a matte surface, but because it's directly on the metal, it has kind of a metal shiny feel to it in a certain light. And being an image that has movement already in it, it kind of makes it as if it was moving even a little bit more.
Right.
So I think it works quite nicely. No frames, just the board itself, and then just the clips on the back where you can hang it up on the wall. Yeah. And if someone wants to frame it, they are free to do that. But I have been hanging them without any frames.
Just with the
as simple as possible. I also find that the ICM, having the movement, the frame would sort of limit the movement too much.
Right.
So when you don't have any frames, it just keeps going. You can let your eye flow out of the picture. And
well, yeah, I mean, this is all. I mean, it's also the difference between your ICM and my ICM. I mean, your ICM is very open. You know, like obviously you're doing a lot from moving cars or trains or whatever. You could do a lot of forestry stuff, and you've got all that gorgeous northern light. That really comes across in your work, whereas mine kind of, you can see behind mine kind of resonates to a scene.
Yeah, true.
And obviously it harks back to your 19th century English painters and stuff. So I know maybe I'm limiting myself a little bit. I'm trying to expand away from that little corner that I found myself in.
Yeah.
But I think like when I've been presenting my work, it's been almost presented if it's been a painting. Framed up on textured paper to mimic that. Try to get that brush like quality. But yeah, it's interesting to find out these different ways. I had a conversation a while ago with Paul Kenny, who is a photographic artist just up the road from me, and he does. I'm saying a photographic artist. He uses a scanner.
No.
So it's all he's absolutely fantastic stuff. He's what is it? It's like salt water, but it dried off, so it leaves crystals.
Yes.
It interacts with different materials you picked up off the beaches.
Yeah.
Stones and pebbles and flowers and absolutely stunning stuff. And he I mean, obviously he's a well-known artist, so he's got ties up with galleries down in London. And he said the trend down there is like no borders, the signature is completely separate and all that. And I was like, and he said the same thing. It's like, no, like I will give you on the sheet of paper like that. And he says it's up to the gallery whether to chop it up and so there's no edge to it. And I was like, really, is the difference so big from up here where it's quite traditional to 300 miles south in London, where the trend is obviously very clean lines and minimal stuff. So it's really quite interesting to see that.
But it really also makes a difference the way you present the same image, whether it's framed or whether it's printed so that there's a lot of white around it or whatever. So it really makes a difference. But I'll show you. Now that we were talking about selling, what I have thought when I look at people's Instagram, for example, is that we don't present the work. We should also, like in Instagram or Facebook or wherever, we should also there kind of think art photographs for dummies technique, and make everything so ready that it's easy to buy and it's easy to make the decision. Because now if I look at someone's Instagram, it may say in the profile that please contact me for prints. And then you look at the Instagram and there is 350 posts. And then you're like, ooh, what size are they? What kind of paper? Is it on aluminum board? How much do they cost? How are they shipped to me and whatever? So you have to sort of package the photograph a little bit more.
Yeah.
Make it more, make it easier to buy, make it more ready to be on a shelf kind of thing. And I have been doing these portfolio boxes lately.
Right.
Where I have, I don't know if you can see this at all, but it's a big black box.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. All nicely presented.
And the portfolio is a color series. It has a cover sheet that has the 10 images that are in the box, and the little story, how the picture was taken, or what the feelings it evoked in me, or whatever. And then the prints. And these are printed on hanemule, bamboo, or hemp, or agave. Yeah. On the natural papers, on the natural fibers. Beautiful. And this is about not quite 8 by 10 inches, but almost. Right. But the image itself, a little smaller than 8 by 10.
So when you mentioned editions of 3 earlier on, are you specifying sizes for each 3, or just 3 in total? Because what I've started this year is editions of 10 in total, whether it be A4 or A1. And just kind of divided up that. Are you specifying the 3 of an 8 by 10?
Yeah, I have done so that this portfolio series, it's 3 of this size. Right. Yeah. But then I have done, I must say that, for example, 3 in a portfolio box of this image, but then I also have like A1 size on aluminum board, and 3 of those as well. Yeah. But I want to try now so that I have like the image is a little bit more sort of ready to wear, kind of sort of in a ready to wear shape and package. Yeah. And see if it helps the viewer or the buyer to make the decision a little bit more easier, rather than just throw 150 images and say that if you like any of them, I'll do a print for you, no problem. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it comes down to organization on my phone. But I recently redid my website, and then it's like, I can now do the selling directly on the website instead of, and it's like, setting up for each image, I just can't be bothered.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like I've still got it, and like, if you want any, get in touch. And exactly. I should. I mean, I've started adding in like print of the month. That's easy because it's there. Yeah. But it's like I really need to keep on adding. But the other thing is, I don't want to add too many, and then it becomes too many.
Exactly.
And people are just like, I don't know.
Yeah, you must not give too many choices. That's the thing. And I have now so that I have on display only those which are printed on the aluminum board, which actually are physically existing already. Yes, yeah. And then we can discuss further if they don't find anything they like. Yeah. And then I can send more samples, but must not have too many there to select from. Yeah. That's a good point. Good point. Yeah. Something to think about. Yeah, because I think you can't just get overwhelmed. No. Yeah.
Especially in the kind of work that we're doing as well, is there's a lot that are probably just small variances on each other. I know I've got into the habit of getting so far through an image and then just remaking that image 4 or 5 times. Yeah, and then you get to the end and going, right, which one do I like? I'll pick that one. But then you're like 6 months later, you're going back, actually, I like that one. I'll put that one on the website as well. Yeah. And now we've got 2 versions, which are just a little bit different.
Exactly, yeah. And they are different to you.
Yes, but to somebody else, they're like, that's, that maybe's already bought one, and they're like, I've already got that one on my wall. And is that just a slightly different red?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. But another thing which I want to try and have tried already is to use the photographs in other mediums as well, in completely different product. Not that you have your picture printed on a mug,
Yeah.
not that, but
Or make
I
it
got
in more, or make it into, oh, what's the, my brain's gone to mush. The a jigsaw, or make it a jigsaw.
exactly, yeah, yeah, but something a little bit more sophisticated.
Yes.
And I was working last year with the design students at the university,
Right.
and they did a number of very good products. Some I saw the prototypes, some not. Challenges that if I only order 10, the price gets really, really high, no matter what the product is.
Right.
And in many cases, you should get them done in China and get a shipload, but I can't do that. But I made just recently some of my photographs into scarves.
Lovely.
And they are printed on 100% cotton and cut into long stripes and sewn and presented nicely. And it's another way to use, and it's another way to sell your photographs.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to just tie yourself to making big prints for walls.
Yeah,
the other thing about modern living is that people are living in smaller houses. So
true. That's very true.
These big canvases I've got at the back there, there's only so many houses that you can fit something that size into.
Yeah.
So hence, everybody's selling A4 prints as well, because you nearly have to.
Yeah.
And it's sell anything.
Unfortunately, it seems to be the trend in modern art at the moment that everything has to be very, very big. All paintings people are painting, they are huge in size. Only museums can buy those.
Yeah.
And museums today don't buy anything. They can't afford to buy anything.
So it is the obsession of going big is because we feel as artists we can charge more and therefore make a little bit more money.
Maybe, but also maybe because it has the status of being more impressive when it's huge. It engulfs you, kind of thing. But it's very difficult to sell something like that when it's very, very big.
It is. These two canvases are left over from the exhibition last year, and it was the gallery owner. He said, "I think we should do a couple of big cans of canvases." I was like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah.
It was like, you can get them done then. So, and of course, because they're bigger, you put a bit bigger price on.
Yeah.
And then they are now at home on my wall at the background.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
And the smaller stuff sold.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So if you can make more money out of smaller stuff, then I don't know.
Yeah, sell 10 small ones instead of 0 big ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just recently accepted as a member to the Lapland Artists Association.
Right.
And the board of government told me that you should really make your photographs very, very big. Right. And I thought, my big ones are like A0 size. So to me, they are already quite big.
Yeah. And
then I thought that who will buy them? That was my first reaction. And they kept going on that they would look so good when they are like 2 by 3 meters. And I was just thinking all the time, who will buy them? Who can afford them? Who has the space in their house?
Well, the other thing, it might be a government agency telling you to do that, but the government agencies are probably the only ones that before all this could have, maybe had some weird art budget to be able to buy such things.
Yeah, exactly.
And now everything will be getting cut to the bone, and then you're going to be back to relying on private individuals again.
Yeah, exactly.
For any kind of big stuff. And
but to sum the discussion up from selling, really, I think that we as artists, we have to just present the things so that they are more buyable. You know,
just make it as easy as possible.
As easy as possible. And I know this doesn't rhyme very well with art, but sort of commercialize, you know, the packaging and everything, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Concentrate on that. Pay attention to that as well. Not only just that, oh, this is such a beautiful photograph or an image, or still an image only in the digital form.
So would you concentrate a lot on, I was going to say, you know, really finessing the brand, you know, making the artist itself, artist, photographer, whatever, making that the brand, and really making all the little bits that, you know, like, you know, push, you know, tape that wraps up the package, make that branded. Is that kind of stuff important? Or I know this is mainly like sending work out rather than selling in a gallery. I'm thinking from that side of stuff.
Maybe not quite that pinpointed. Maybe that is not necessary, but
just maybe take some care in it.
Take care, have it well presented, but I think building the brand is very important because it leaves a mark in viewer's brain. The more often you see the brand, the more it leaves the mark, you know, on the memory card. And you become more known, your work becomes more known, and you may be able to sell more. And then also what I feel is very important, which goes along with building the brand, is that you have to put yourself into it.
Yes.
You have to give your face to your work. You have to be bold in also giving a little bit of yourself.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of artists out there, you know, for any kind of artist that will happily sit in the background.
Exactly.
And
they say,
and only put out their work. They'll not put their face anywhere near it. They'll not, you know, in this modern world, they'll not get a YouTube channel. They will not do a podcast. They will, you know, all this kind of stuff. They are, you know, they'll barely have an Instagram account. They are purely sitting in a little room creating fantastic art.
Exactly, and no one knows about them.
Yes. They are really just hiding away.
And what I think is really crazy about Instagram is that people don't have their names there.
Right.
I mean, you have these accounts that may be JXYZWK. And then you're kind of wondering, this fantastic work, but who the hell is the person behind here?
Well, this leads me on to something I was going to ask you about. Is that obviously you kind of specialize in ICM photography. Finland, from what I've looked on Instagram, there seems to be a high percentage. There seems to be a lot of the high-end ICM photographers come from Finland.
Really?
well, I was going to say, there's yourself. There's a girl called Eva Karu. I've come across.
Eva Karhu. Yeah. There.
Accents, I can't really do.
No problem.
You know, she's fantastic. And known worldwide, I think.
Yeah.
And there's also somebody on Instagram, which kind of goes along the whole not putting their name next to it, is called Insane Camera Movement. It's
crazy that it's a couple behind. It's two people.
Right.
They have the most fantastic work, and you can't find anywhere. You can't find anywhere who they are. I think it's the craziest thing. And, you know, I wrote to them because I really like their work. And I think it would be great if they could be presented and featured in the ICM photo magazine.
Yeah, definitely.
So I wrote to them and said that I really like your work. And I know the person who puts up this magazine, that I could tell about you if you think it's okay.
Yeah.
And they said, oh yes, go ahead, that sounds good. And they still didn't tell me who they are.
Right.
So how can I tell Stephanie that there is this someone
hiding behind this name? Well, the only thing obviously I know they're from Finland, but the only reason I they put in a couple of posts over the last few months or whatever, that they've got a second account that they're specialising in, not like old photography, film photography. So there's a second account for that.
Yeah, for the ICM.
And I think that had their name on it, and it was like, oh, that's it. But you can't remember what
it's a couple. They run a photo studio in Pori in southern Finland,
right?
And they specialize on daguerreotypes,
right?
And they dress all the people who come there to get photographed in old clothes, and they have a lot of props and everything, and they do these exposures for 20 minutes. The people sit there for 20 minutes frozen, and they specialize on this wet plate technique,
right?
And they do have their name on there,
but
before you know that they are connected, these two, it takes a year or two. But it's a shame because their work is really, really good.
It really stands out when I'm flicking through Instagram. I mean, I follow the ICM, or intentional camera movement hashtag. So you see a lot of people that I don't actually follow, you see them do. And theirs is always top of the list. I was like, oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Double click.
They are very, very good.
Absolutely brilliant.
There is actually quite a few very good ones in Finland.
Mm-hmm.
But,
to me, from an outsider, it seems to be a hotbed for photography.
Yeah, it might be. It might be. And Eva Karhu, I just purchased her book.
Right. I've been looking. I was like, I must get that. So thing is, I've been buying other books recently. I'm like, I'm going to run out of money again soon.
Yeah.
So like some of them are like more traditional photography, but it's the kind of people that I really like, and really happy to support. So I was like, I need to buy. I've missed out on 3 of their books already. I need to buy.
I'm crazy about books.
So
in my gallery, I have a whole room devoted to books.
Right. So do you sell book? Like if artists were out there and had a book, would they send you 5 copies and then you sell them in the gallery?
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Yeah, definitely. Whatever they have, they can bring along, and we can sell there.
Yeah.
And then I also sell my own products, like these scarves and prints. And I have also been doing printing images on reindeer leather, and they have been turned into pillows.
All right.
And I sell those as well. They don't sell very well. They're very wonderful, but they're very expensive.
You just haven't had the right person through the door yet. That's what it is.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of stuff will sell.
Yeah.
It's getting it in front of the right people.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But yeah, definitely. I have a little space there where I can set up everything nicely on display. Yeah, and I'll be glad to do that. Because if they don't buy a print from the wall, they might buy a book or a postcard or whatever, like you said. So everything is important and welcome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like I say, everything from the big stuff to the little stuff, and even if it's not a print, it could be a different kind of product, whether it be a mug.
Yeah, exactly. It was a little bit challenging with the Edward Weston's exhibition because I couldn't sell them.
So you just have to have lots of your own products spread around.
Yeah.
Got to make the money somehow. So, like an exhibition of that kind of magnitude, were you charging entry because you weren't?
I wasn't.
Right.
No, I wasn't. No, I just wanted
mainly
to
just to get people through the door.
Marketing.
Right.
Yeah. And I was very lucky. About 10 years ago, I met this guy who I participated in a trip to go to Cologne, to Photokina. And there was a guy participating in the group who owns a massive collection of fine art prints by like Ansel Adams and Edward Weston, and you name it, he's got it. And then I was thinking last spring that I need to get something really, really high end here. And I remembered that this guy was on the trip, but who was he and what was his name? And then I started searching through Facebook, and finally I found him. And I just called him up and said, hey, do you remember me, that we were on this trip together? And and I have this gallery, and maybe you have something that I could exhibit here. Oh yeah, I have this 5 Westerns, Edward Weston, would you be interested? I was like, what? Because when I studied photography, we were like with the loop going through Edward Weston's prints and techniques and trying to imitate and everything. And he was a big thing for our teacher, and I knew his work very well. And I couldn't believe that one day I would have Edward Westerns hanging on my wall.
Your own wall.
Yeah. Yeah, but I wasn't able to sell, but it was good marketing thing.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you just got to do that. You've got to do the freebie to make the money later on, really, haven't you?
Yeah.
So anyway, so as we come towards the end, I've kept you long enough sitting on that floor in that hut.
No problem.
What's the future hold for yourself, whether it be the immediate future or plans for the more extended?
This is still on an idea level, but I hope that one day, let's say in 2 years or something like that, it might materialize. I'd like to have my photographs, ICM, and maybe something a little bit more graphic, not maybe quite so abstract, put into a book and incorporate, let's say, 10 top poets in Finland together. Yeah. And they would see the images and hopefully get inspired and write a poem from a particular image. And then all of that could be a book and an exhibition. And I even thought that we have very skillful songwriters in Finland who write with only a few words a fantastic story. So we could even incorporate songwriters or those who write lyrics to songs, and then even have a concert or something like that, where you could have the exhibition of photographs at the same time and sell the book.
Well, exactly. You've got to sell something. Tickets, the whole
tickets,
shebang.
Of course, the whole thing. So that is something that is on an idea level now, but I start working on it and see if I get the poets interested, and if I could get someone to publish it. And I contacted a friend of mine who used to work in a publishing house, and she said, it's a great idea, but poem books, poetry sells really poorly, and photography books, they also sell very poorly.
They're even worse.
So thank you.
Photography books are only bought by other photographers.
I'm
sure of it.
Yeah, that's true too. But something like that is in the long run. Yeah. And in the short future, in the near future, I'm hoping to somehow get on a next level on my ICM. Yeah. Would it be?
You're not really sure yet. You just know that you're going to push things a little bit further.
Yes, because I don't want to keep repeating myself. But I think what it will be that I considerably extend the exposure time. Right. Because now I'm using something like 0.5 seconds to 2 seconds. Yeah. So maybe something that Eric Malm does. Right. 10 seconds and 30 seconds and whatever. It actually gets more difficult.
You've got to have a lot more control. I was going to say, I think when I first started out, I was like 5 to 10 second kind of range. Yeah. But now it's pretty much less than a second.
Yeah.
But no quicker than a fifth.
No, definitely not.
Just that kind of.
Kind of same. I use the same range. Yeah. But I definitely want to do something new in the ICM scheme, but I don't know what it is exactly, but I think it's going to that direction, and definitely don't want to keep repeating myself and doing the same trees all over and over and over.
I'm having the same problem with castles.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm photographing the same castles, and it's getting to the point of like, which isn't great in this current situation because, slightly restricted travel within the country. Obviously, very restricted travel abroad. Not that I would be going abroad much anyway. But some change of location, and just maybe a completely change of subject matter.
It may help.
Would spur me on again, I think.
Yes, it will.
I've got too comfortable recently. I just recently wrote about that.
Yeah, that's true too. You have to get out of the comfort zone.
You do.
Yeah, definitely. So. And another thing what I have been thinking that might help me in this work would be to get a tutor, a mentor.
Right, yes.
Find a mentor who I could, contact and play my ideas and
get proper feedback.
Exactly. And so that's something I'm looking for.
Yeah. But you're doing a little bit of that through the ICM photo mark, though, aren't you? You're being the mentor, isn't it?
Kind of, yeah. But it doesn't mean that I don't need one myself.
Yes, well, I think we could all do with a little bit of guidance now and again. Just to spur us on, get us out of our comfort zones.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm actually going to have a course which I hold, where I'm teaching ICM in October, a weekend workshop.
Yeah.
So that will be interesting also to
kind
of maybe build a little ICM community within our town.
Yes, that'd be good.
Yeah. Let's see what it leads into. If those who participate will get excited.
Well, to be honest, I was going to say the people I've taught tend to be, they're intrigued by it or have dabbled with it, and they're just so excited about it because going back to that freeing aspect of it. You're not restricted by what's in front of you and rules and regulations and all this kind. They must be done this way and must be done that way. It's basically you can do as you please.
Yeah,
but I will help you get the best results.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, so things like that are lined up.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, it sounds like it's going to be an exciting few years ahead, providing we all get through the next 6 months, whatever's gonna crop up. But let's not end on that thought. So anyway, as we come to the end, where can we find you, Kaisa?
Okay, online, you mean?
Yeah, all your usual socials and websites and the gallery website or whatever and everything.
Yeah,
get them listed.
So in Instagram, you can find me at Kaisa Siren Photography. And if you start spelling Kaisa Siren, you will find me.
Fantastic.
And you will also find me on Facebook under my name, Kaisa Siren.
Yeah.
And you will find my website at kaisasiren.fi.
Right. So FI Finland, obviously.
FI for Finland or .com also.
Right. Okay.
And then my gallery, it's a little bit more difficult name. It's called Villa Vinkkeli.
Right.
And Vinkkeli means a corner.
Okay.
Or a perspective.
Right.
Like a photographic perspective angle. And it is because the house has million corners. It doesn't have one straight wall. Right. So it's sort of it's a good interplay. Yeah, it suits. It's sort of a pun. Right. And villavinkkeli.com is the gallery.
I will include links below so
gallery
so you don't need to spell it out. So.
And Villa Vinkkeli is also in Instagram.
Fantastic. Brilliant.
So all those sources are there. I hope you can have a look and tell me regards and give me feedback if you do have a visit.
I will include all the links in the description of the video and the podcast. So hopefully everybody will give you a look on those. So thank you so much for your time today, Kaisa, and apologies for making you sit on the floor in a hut somewhere.
No problem. Thank you so much for inviting me. It was a really nice opportunity. Thanks a lot. It was great talking to you.
Oh, thank you very much.